Okay, great. Let's just give it a couple of minutes. It's not 7 yet. All right, it's 7 o'clock, and I think we can get started, and people can keep trickling in as they come in. Good evening, everyone. My name is Gautam Kiyawat. I am professor of management practice in the marketing area at ESSEC Business School's Singapore campus. I'm also academic director for the Marketing Management and Digital program, which is a 15-month master's program based out of the Singapore campus. Thank you for joining us this evening. Before I start, I just want to make sure everyone can kind of hear me. If you have any problem with hearing me, just put it in the chat and we'll figure out a way to solve it. For those of you on the panel with me, you can hear me, right? Okay, sounds good. Okay, let's get going. So I essentially took over this program about 6 to 7 months ago. I'll give you a little bit of my background as we dive into the program. I wanted to share with you that we'll be running this webinar in 3 parts. The first part is an introduction to the program itself, which I'll be running. And then we have a short panel discussion with 3 of our graduates from previous years who are now working in industry. And I'll make that introduction just before we start a small panel discussion so you can hear from the graduates what their experience has been, not only in the program, but through their transition into industry and beyond. And lastly, we'll finish up with industry insights from Professor Sonja Prokopec, who is a marketing professor based in Singapore, focused on the luxury marketing area. Before her current role as marketing professor and associate dean of faculty, Sonja actually ran the LVMH chair at ESSEC for 12 years and gave up that role to take up her current role as associate dean of faculty. But she continues to teach and be highly involved in the program, and she will share insights on the luxury industry towards the back half of this session. A quick word of introduction about myself. I am a professor of practice. So professors of the practice are people who spend a considerable time in industry. I spent 25 years in consumer goods, marketing and media industries across the world before joining ESSEC 4 years ago. And so you'll see reflected in the program a very deep sense of what industry needs are and how we connect to those needs in a very hit the ground running kind of way. We have today also 3 of our graduates. Lawai is based in Tokyo. He's a brand manager with Stellantis, the automobile company. We have Alexa Morin, who is with Chanel, in charge of digital transformation Europe, based in Paris. And we have Chindan Yang, who is at Opella, which is the OTC business for Sanofi. And she is based in Singapore and she works in consumer insights. I'll allow them to introduce themselves in more detail when we get to the panel. But for now, I wanted to give you a quick overview of the program. So we started as a very small program in 2017 in Singapore. We run a 1-year full-time program. The way we structure it is it's 4 months of initial foundational work in term 1, followed by 4 months of intensive industry based work in term 2, followed by a 4 to 6 month internship, which is part of the program. The emphasis of the program is on digital and luxury marketing. It's quite notable that we are ranked number 2 worldwide for a marketing master's program. We are ranked number 1 in Asia. And we are, without a doubt, the only program in the world that combines digital marketing with a focus on the luxury industry. So digital marketing is a discipline and a deep dive into the luxury industry as a sector. Therefore, we attract a lot of people who are either interested in digital marketing or interested in the luxury business. We combine, along with classroom experiences, which entirely in English, an international study trip every year. And that study trip is organized by the students, and they go and visit companies in different parts of the world based on what each cohort decides. So that's the program at a glance. The way we run the program is, like I said, in 3 parts. The first term, which you see on the left, consists of core courses. The core courses have been designed and are kept refreshed every year, keeping industry needs in mind. We have a deep connect with industry that informs us what's current, what's kind of on its way out, and we make sure we stay current on all of our core material. So for example, courses like advertising that works today in the digital landscape, entrepreneurial thinking and doing, a young manager foundation series, which equips young managers with workplace skills that are not necessarily taught by classroom, but taught by experiences from people who worked in industry for a long time. We have a bunch of professional conferences that runs at throughout the first term, where companies come in and speak to our students about what's happening in industry. We then take a break over Christmas and New Year's, and we come back in term 2. And in term 2, we focus on digital industry platforms. We focus on luxury sectors specifically, and we focus on a lot of fundamental deep work within the luxury industry and the digital marketing discipline. We kind of end term 2 in March, April, more like April end, but towards March and April, we have a capstone project called a Digital Marketing Challenge. We also have a study trip that I referred to earlier. And it's around this time that our students kind of are starting to interview for internships, and then they embark on the 4 to 6 month internship starting May of the year. And they finish up their work by December at the latest. And that's what the program looks like. On the right in the slide, I've also put down for you the companies that are involved in delivering the program this year for this cohort. These companies are involved in deeper ways than just a guest lecture. They are either involved in co-creating the material from people who are interested and capable and are have rich experience to teach at Essex. So we co-create the material with them. They're also involved at times, sometimes delivering an entire course. So for example, our consumer-based marketing thinking course and social listening, etc., is delivered by Pulsar, which is a UK-based global research company. L'Oreal is involved in getting our students skilled to prepare for interviews, alongside also being involved in a sector dive into the cosmetics and skincare industry, where their management comes and speaks to students in a very deep dive session on how the business works. So this is just a sampling of the companies that students get to interact with on a structured, deliberate, predetermined basis to keep everyone current on what's happening. In terms of career prospects after people graduate, if you look at the past couple of cohorts, about half the cohort finds a job prior to graduation, about 3/4 of them in less than 3 months, and 80% of jobs are international assignments, which is outside of Singapore. The average gross salary is approximately $70,000 US. 68% graduates find themselves around Asia, 20% in Europe, and about 10% in America. The top sectors that we have hiring our graduates are the ones on the right. I'm not planning to kind of read out every single name of the slide, but you'll get a sense of what companies and what sectors recruit from campus. I just wanted to add in here between the lines, it's not on the slide, the fact that our cohort is very international. It's very engaged. We have approximately 88%, which I think is another slide, are women. 10 to 15% every year are men. And this cohort essentially comes in with 1 or 2 years of work experience at times, but we do have a large contingent of people who are fresh from their undergraduate degree as well. In terms of who can apply to the program, typically people with a bachelor's degree. The online application is a very, very action-focused application. It's been revised to bring out elements of what you bring to the table. We go beyond looking at your undergraduate degree grades. We look at your motivation. We look at the experiences you've had. We look at why you want to do the program and what you'll bring to the table. So it's a holistic admissions process. We do 4 rounds of admissions every year, and our fees is updated on the website. Give you a sample of the cohorts that we've had in the last couple of years. 2/3 are with degrees in business, economics, or arts. 20% have degrees in languages and social sciences, 15% from engineering or pure sciences. So it really does not matter what degree you have at undergraduate level. What matters is what made you make the decision to apply to this program. What are the collection of experiences that pointed you in this direction? And more importantly, do we get a sense of your motivation to add something significant to yourself and to the classroom? This year's cohort has an average age of 23 with a range of 20 to 32. And 70% of our cohort this year is non-French. The reason I put it up there is because we are associated with being, very French, very luxury. The second part is true. The first part is definitely true for programs that are run in France, but for this program, it's a very, very, probably the most diverse program within the ESSEC system. The admission dates, round 1 opens 25th of October, so literally in less than a couple of weeks. And then we run in 4 rounds. Applications come in starting October, come in all the way through April and May. We obviously have a criteria by which we look at applications as they come in, and we have rolling admissions being communicated. So if you're in round 1 and you have a great application and you deserve a place in the program, we will make you the offer right away. We won't wait till the end of April or May to make the offer. We might inform some students that get placed on a wait list, but otherwise, the earlier you apply, the quicker you hear from us on whether you get admitted or not. So yes, that's essentially what I want to share with you. I didn't want to keep it too high level, not too much of a deep dive, but hopefully this gives you a flavor for the program and kind of encourages you to take a look on the website and see if this program indeed is for you to apply to. Great. What I do right now is I will request you to maybe type in your questions into the chat. I promise to address them along with the team towards the end of the session. And what we will do now is to get to the panel. Okay. So I briefly introduced the panel to you earlier, and what I'd like to do now is to maybe allow them to say a couple of about themselves, with maybe a focus on what brought them to the program, and kind of give us a summary of your journey from the program to where you are now. In no particular order, but I have Jinlin at the top left of my screen, so I'll maybe request her to start, then Remy, and then Alexia.
Okay, sure. So thank you for the very comprehensive introduction. So very happy to be here. I graduated from the program in 2019, so I'm actually same batch as Remy here. So I actually went into the program because I have a bachelor's degree in international business and I wish to specialize a little more in marketing. So I found this program because I always knew about ISEC as a school and had this had I used to live in France briefly and therefore know about the reputation and the ranking. Then I found out that that ISEC has a program in Singapore, and that's when I thought, this would be interesting. In particular because it's a marketing program focused on the digital, which I hadn't seen a lot on the market at the time. So that's why I applied. Ultimately, then got into the program, started, and been in Singapore ever since. So I moved here for the program, and I have been here ever since, working different jobs. So with the internship, as part of this program, I was working at LVMH, perfumes and cosmetics under the brand Benefit Cosmetics. And after the internship, I was able to find a full-time position at Sanofi Consumer Healthcare, which is where I still work now. Now it's called Opella. And so I've held 3 different positions in Sanofi Opella already. So starting with digital transformation within marketing. And this is where the digital aspect of MMD really helped me to secure this position. Then with that, and also some data background as part of MMD, I was able to switch to a business intelligence role, which is essentially because I wanted to get closer to the data after having done, marketing analytics. So with that experience now, I'm sort of coming full circle in combining marketing, branding, and data analytics into my current role of consumer market insights. So I just started this role a couple of weeks ago, and this is where I am now.
Great. Thank you, Jinling. I just wanted to maybe change things up a little bit, before we get to Remy and Alexia. I just wanted to make a couple of comments on what Jinling said, which is that she did an internship at LVMH and then ended up with consumer healthcare. And I want to let the audience know that that's completely fine. People are attracted to the program for a lot of different reasons. A lot of folks in with a luxury destination in mind. A lot of folks come in with, I just want to be a digital marketing expert in mind. But as we get into the system of industry and we start working, we discover opportunities that might come through. And so we find people that intern in luxury move to a consumer company in digital marketing, or people who start in digital marketing in a non-luxury business kind of find their way into luxury space. I think what the program really brings to the table when we talk about an immersion into luxury is the ability to understand how businesses are able to charge premiums and create stellar brands that allow them to do that. And once you understand the principles from the holy grail of premium marketing, which is luxury, then applying those principles to any other industry becomes very, very intuitive and natural. So thanks for kind of spiking that thought in your chat. And then Remy, you want to go next?
Yeah. So, well, thank you for the introduction. So my name is Remy. Nice to meet you guys. So as Ginny said, I graduated at the same time as her, like in 2019. So first question, why ESSEC? So for me, being French, it was quite like a straightforward choice, like to make. Like this is one of the best school in the country. Like even in Europe, like the brand recognition is like super high. Also, like I decided to apply to this program in Singapore and not the one in Sergi because I just came back from abroad. I spent like respectively 1 year in Japan back then and then 1 year in US. And basically I knew I wanted like to live abroad for quite a long time. I wanted to go back to Asia to for work, so it was kind of obvious for me like to choose a program that was like really emphasizing, you know, like the business side of Asia. So that was like clearly my main motivation to apply to this program. So then after 1 year at ESSEC, I got an internship at Unilever back in France. I knew it was a transition, you know, because I really wanted to get like some FMCG experiences. Originally, I wanted to work at LVMH, especially Louis Vuitton, which I managed to do when I was in Singapore. For some reason, it didn't work out. I ended up like not being a super fan of the luxury industry, so I said, okay, you know, like the program is quite holistic, and even if you don't manage to break in the luxury industry or you end up being a bit disappointed by the environment, like the fact is that like the program has also like a very good digital background, meaning that you can find like a job in pretty much any industry you want. So then I ended up like going back to France, being at Unilever, and I got an offer to go back to Tokyo. So right now I'm working as scientist, living in Tokyo, where I'm still working this day. And originally I was taking care of the digital strategy for the whole brands of the group, so Maserati, Alfa Romeo, Fiat, Peugeot, etc. And now I'm managing the whole brand strategy for DS in Japan. So yeah, that's
That's
pretty.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean
And
quite a while.
so right now, Remy, you work on a specific brand, or could you? I missed.
Yeah, so basically, originally I was working only for the three French brand of the group, being Peugeot, Citroën, DS. Then I
Okay,
got
got it.
promoted, and for 2 years I also cover Alfa Romeo, Fiat, Maserati, and Abarth and Jeep. And then now, like, I'm not doing digital only. I'm doing everything: branding, event, strategy, digital. And for one single brand, they allow me to choose. I could choose either Maserati, Alfa Romeo, or DS. DS was a bit more niche, but it was French, so for me it made kind of sense, you know, like to go back to my roots.
Right.
So I chose DS, and now yeah, I'm managing like the whole brand for the country. Yeah, so quite exciting position with a
That's
lot of
great.
freedom, so that's really nice. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. I just have a question for you, Remy, and maybe our audience will also be interested in this. So my sense is, so I went to business school and I graduated in 95, which is a long, long time
Mm-hmm.
ago, right? And then the more years I spent working, the less I remembered of what I studied in business school. And this is true of all of us as human beings because we kind of remember recent things more than we do, far off things. Are there, one or two things that you kind of retain from experience at ESSEC? It could be in class, outside class, that you kind of look back at and you thought that was a good uh, experience to have that helps you today?
Oh yeah, definitely. So, well, the thing is that back when I was in Japan, I did an internship, you know, at a digital marketing company, and I went into ESSEC, you know, like knowing a bit about those things. And around like the second semester, like there was a class, you know, about like doing like paid media. So it wasn't like some kind of
Right.
theoretical type of classes. It was really hands-on because like the teacher had like one of a client, which was like a hospital for like addiction, like in Malaysia. And basically she gave us like $500 and say, okay, you guys are going to create the ads, all the account optimization, and that was like really pure 100% like a hands-on type of experience that really, you know, like helped like a lot of my classmates and also myself, you know, like to know much deeper into Facebook ads and Google ads. And yeah, it definitely like ended during the interview process because I got quite a few technical questions. And yeah, even if it was like one single class, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be where I am right now if I didn't attend this class back then. You know, it really came quite handy, and I'm pretty sure the program, you know, don't necessarily offer this type of experience. So yeah, good plus one
Got
for
it.
me. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that, Remy. I just wanted to add a little bit to what Remy said. So, for those of you on the call who are wondering if you need to have a background, for example, like Remy's, where you have a little bit of digital marketing experience, I think the answer to that is no, you do not have to have any prior specific marketing or luxury experience before you join, because the way the courses and the curriculum is set up, it is equally beneficial to all backgrounds. So for people who already have some background in either digital marketing, marketing, or luxury, they're quite surprised as to the kind of insights they gather from the material on campus and from the industry interactions. And for people or for students who come in with no background in marketing or luxury, we get them up to like a level playing field with everybody else in a way that they can appreciate everything that happens from there on. So don't let your background determine whether you're a fit for the program or not. It's only your motivation and your ability to learn as evidenced in your application that really matters. Alexia, thank you for waiting patiently, but since you're Chanel, we had to come to you. We're giving you enough runway to take your time and talk to us.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me. So my name is Alexia. I was part of the 2021-2022 MMD cohort. So right during COVID, we changed a bit the traditional experience, I believe, but it was still an amazing experience. Before that, I did a Bachelor of Commerce in Canada, and I think part of the reason I chose the Singapore ESSEC MMD experience was a bit like Remy. I wanted to keep traveling and discover new environments and also have the renowned ESSEC name on my resume. It was amazing, and it's also how I ended up at Chanel, because for my end of studies internship, first for the interview, the program gave me lots of food for thoughts and experience to talk about, but also I joined the company for my end of studies internship, and I've been here for 2 years, so I'd say it went well.
Great. And can you talk a little bit, Alexa, you referred to you being in the, at the tail end of COVID, and I believe in your year, you did a Singapore-based study trip kind of thing, right?
Yes.
Can I maybe, just talk about how that went and what your experience was? Not the COVID part, but just the experience of the study week.
Yes, of course.
And then I'll get Jinlin and Remy to add from their experience as well.
Yeah, so like you said, we didn't have a study trip because most of the borders were closed, but we did have a business week. So it was a week full of conferences and also organized by the students. I was lucky to be part of the organizing committee. So we reached out to many graduates from ESSEC and the program, and they came. It was from like big companies such as Google, Dior, Longchamp, Cartier, also other brands that were working with the MMD on the digital challenge. So we had many speakers, even TikTok. It was a fulfilling and thrilling week, which gave us lots of insights about the luxury sector and careers in there.
Great. And were you able to visit the companies in this case, or because of COVID that was difficult to do?
No, so we all stayed in a conference room in a nice hotel, nonetheless, but it was in one place.
Nice. That's great. All right. Jinlin and Remy went to Hong Kong, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Do you want to talk a little bit maybe about that experience?
Yeah, sure. So happy to share. I think we were quite lucky to have been able to go on a study trip. This was in May of 2019, and it was 1 week, so 5 days, Monday to Friday, and we had, it was actually planned by the students as well. So we ourselves identified some companies that we were interested in visiting and liaise with them to see if they would allow us to visit their companies. And we were able to have a pretty packed schedule. I think we had at least one company for every like half day. So I think in total visited up to maybe 10-ish companies. And so we had companies such as Richemont, Cartier, Chanel in Hong Kong. So these in terms of, the luxury sector, but also other sectors, for example, market research like Ipsos, then Design Bridge, which is more of a creative agency, Animoca Brands, which is video games, Natixis, and Hong Kong Exchange. So these are more towards finance, but it just shows just when it comes to marketing, it really is kind of a skill that spans a lot of industries. And we were for sure able to see this with this trip and to really talk to the people who work there in the office, to also kind of see the office and how, you know, what the culture is like at these companies, and ask a lot of questions, because I think we were in that stage where we were in the midst of looking for an internship or for even like a full-time job straight away if possible. So we were just all exploring our options and then getting to know the industry more. And we had a few who were open to, even though we were based in Singapore, we were open to opportunities in Hong Kong or abroad. So it also gave us that opportunity to connect. And so I feel like overall it was a really good experience. And for me, it definitely gave me a lot of, you know, food for thought in order to inform what sort of career I maybe wanted for myself.
Great. Thanks so much. And, you know, Remy, instead of kind of, since you were in the same cohort as Jinling and you also went to Hong Kong, instead of kind of doubling down on that, maybe can you spare a few thoughts on your experience living in Singapore and with an international cohort on campus? What was that experience like? Was it your first time in Singapore when you joined?
Yeah. So first time in Singapore, actually quite interesting to see, because I think if you're based in Southeast Asia, like Singapore is definitely like the best city to be working in, meaning that like all like the biggest actors, you know, like in the business industry, like being luxury or even not luxury, you know, like tech companies have their headquarters in Singapore. Luxury companies have their headquarters in Singapore. Automotive companies have their headquarters in Singapore. So basically, all throughout the years, when you're going to have like those big actors, you know, like meeting up, you're always going to have conferences, networking events. You're going to meet always people doing some of the greatest stuff around. And I think this wouldn't be possible anywhere in Southeast Asia, like besides Singapore. Before, you know, like the direct competitor to the city was a bit Hong Kong, but Hong Kong is becoming less and less attractive, like because of politics, you know, like for those companies. So they're relocating most of their assets to Singapore. So meaning that in the future, like the city is going to be even more and more business driven. So I think when you're a student, this is definitely the best city to be in. Now, like in terms of lifestyle, if I can say so, yeah, like living in Singapore is very, very nice, especially if you like summer. I definitely think that this is one of the easiest cities to be living in. Everything is made like to be easy. Everything is digital, easily accessible. Like government is efficient. So yeah, like living in Singapore was quite nice, and the SA campus in itself is quite like nicely located near INSEAD and NUS. So you always meet like other students doing like some other stuff from all around the world. So you end up like learning a lot from each other. And I think this is a really good opportunity, not only for the business side of things, but also for the academic and like just grow as a person, you know, like, so yeah, very, very good experience overall. Yeah.
Great. Thanks for that, Remy. I wanted to take a few points that Remy made and kind of expand on those. Number one, you know, irrespective of where you come from, the one thing we hear from everyone is that Singapore is super easy to settle into. Like it takes you a week and you feel like you kind of know how the place works very, very quickly. The other part is it's incredibly international, not only from a population standpoint, but also from a company exposure standpoint. And I like to tell the incoming students that at least half of what you learn happens outside the classroom in the city you live in. So when you're looking at applying to a master's program, please do place consideration on which city the program is located in. Unless you're looking for a pure play research kind of program where it doesn't matter what's outside the building. But if you're looking to engage with industry, engage with professionals or alumni, etc., the city that you propose to live in plays a big, big role in complementing and completing your classroom education. I don't say this selfishly only from an ESSEC perspective, but just the general advice to anybody looking at a place to choose a university. So we are kind of at the point where we need to hand off to Sonja's insights piece. I wanted to thank all three of you, Jinlin, Remy, and Alexia, for making the time, for sharing your experiences. We haven't really met in person yet, but the next time all of you have some time, we'd be happy to catch up on campus and chat more, maybe introduce you to the current cohort. Take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the portion on the luxury consumers, current trends, and brand strategy. My name is Sonja Prokopec. I'm a professor of luxury brand management. Before we get started, I want to give you a little bit of an introduction about myself, so you get a better idea of my experiences with the luxury world, with ESSEC, with academia, with research. And you have a better understanding of who I am and what I do. So this is what I look like in full length. I'm originally from Serbia, but I've spent about 10 years of my life in the US. That's also where I completed my PhD. And my focus has always been on consumer behavior. So in consumer insights, understanding about consumers, and that's also going to be a topic about today. Then I moved to France, and I've been now with ESSEC as a professor for 17 years, so quite a long time. And immediately when I joined ESSEC, I started working with a lot of luxury brands, because that's a history of ESSEC. We have been working with the luxury industry for 35 plus years. And I was also head of the LVMH chair, which is a specially created program, a specialization between LVMH and the ESSEC Business School. So in 2016, I had a short 3 years in Dubai, and also got to know that market quite well. And then in 2016, I moved to Singapore, and I've been now in Singapore 8 years. And the role that I have been, that I was given when I came here, was to really develop our presence in the luxury space as a business school that has ability to train young talents to hit the ground running in any luxury house, any luxury brand, or brands that do really, really good marketing and branding. So I've been here now 8 years. So these are basically my two areas of expertise. I'm a consumer behaviorist with a lot of my projects and research really deep dive into the luxury and consumers. And I also have a deep understanding of luxury brand management, and I work on many, many different topics with luxury brands and the industry as a whole. So as a side note, I'm also an avid tennis player and enjoy the sport very much. So one topic I thought to share with you today is about where we are with the consumer trends, because they are always so interesting in terms of how they dictate what brands should do and how they can approach this industry. And if we look at the evolution of the industry, we see that the industry has really grown from a very small mom and pop kind of industry that was in the 90s up to 2000 to what we call the democratization of the luxury industry, which was really this period in the 2000 to 2008, where all of a sudden luxury brands starting growing internationally, a lot of consumers starting aspiring to buy into them, and just became much more desirable and available to a larger number of consumers. Then in 2008, 2009, we have this period where it was the financial crisis, which took us just a tiny hit to the luxury industry. But it was really the first evidence of luxury industry being extremely resilient to any kind of global crisis, whether we're talking about financial crisis or more recently more of a health crisis. And then we have a period of Chinese acceleration. This period was when China became a growth engine of the luxury industry, with many stores opening and a lot of interest from the Chinese consumers that really grew the industry tremendously. As we are entering into a more of a normal growth phase in the 2015-2016. And then what's interesting is we have again 2020 the health crisis, but extremely fast reboot. And that's why everyone started looking into the luxury industry, because they started to realize that there's something very interesting happening here. No matter whether we're talking about financial crisis or health crisis, consumers very quickly go back to buying luxury goods. So what's happening today? Well, today we know that this is an industry that's growing at 4 to 6%. That's reaching $1.4 trillion if we're talking about an industry as a whole, including automotive, including wines and spirits, experiential luxury. Personal goods luxury is expected to reach just over $350 billion. But it's also expected to rise significantly by 2030. And a lot of this growth is attributed to the younger consumers, the Gen Z and Gen Alpha, that are set to grow at 3 times faster than other generations. You can also see here the predictions for this year. There's not a substantial growth, but there's still a 4 to 6% growth. And we are seeing also that a lot of luxury brands are trying to adjust to the new rhythm and anticipate what are the new trends that are going to emerge in this market. Okay. As I mentioned before, a lot of these shifts have to do with consumers. So we are seeing that a lot of consumers are we are seeing that a lot of new consumers and a lot of the new revenues are going to come from significantly younger consumers. Millennials already represent 40% of the personal luxury goods market, and we also know that the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha are going to be the real contributors to the growth of the luxury industry. We are also seeing that in terms of the dominance of the consumers, Asian consumers will continue to account for more than half of the luxury market. Why is it interesting to know your consumers or to know what's happening with the consumers? Is because consumers are at the heart of every brand strategy, right? So if you don't know who your consumers are, if you don't understand what are the trends there, then you cannot possibly come up with a relevant brand strategy that's going to allow your brand to grow. Okay? These are figures from reports like Boston Consulting Group that are really very accurate in their predictions. So here are some interesting stats for you. A new luxury consumer starts their journey with the luxury at a much earlier age. Start at 15. This Gen Z population will grow at 3 times faster than the older generations, and they will have they will be 1/3 of the market by already this year or last year in this slide, right? And they have a very large level of disposable income. What also we know about them is that they are looking for different things, right? So they are very technologically adept and they're value driven. But what we mean by value is that they're not only motivated by status, but they want to know more about the brands. They want to know what is the purpose, what is actually authentic about this brand, why should I care about this brand and they don't want to be fed marketing stories that their previous generations have been very interested in hearing, right? So this segment of consumers is the younger segment is quite different than the next segment I'm going to talk to you about. So we have on one hand these Gen Z consumers, very young, starting their journey into luxury, very young. And at the same time, you have this top of the pyramid consumers. We call these the beyond money consumers. And these are consumers in the luxury space that are really the top of the pyramid in terms of how much they spend. They're considered those consumers who spend more than $50,000 a year on luxury goods. And actually, even that segment has 3 sub-segments depending on the amount they spend, right? So, and what we see is they spend on average $350,000 per year, or euros in this case, right? So a lot of luxury brands are also realizing that this is an important segment that they have to focus on. And why is that? Imagine the following numbers. These clients represent less than 1% of the clients. Actually, you could say 1 to 2%, right? But each one of these clients is worth 230 times the one of an aspirational client. And they are more important in terms of their size, twice as big as they were 10 years ago, right? So this is a very important segment from the luxury brand strategy to focus on. And you see a lot of luxury brands trying to engage with this segment, do exceptional experiences for them, entertain them, take them on trips, create experiences that money can't buy. And that's also a very important part of the brand strategy, especially in the luxury sphere. Okay. What else do we know? We know that this segment is 10% is growing at a 10% compound annual growth rate, and it's a very stable segment. What that means is that it's not affected by economic crisis, inflation, wars, health crisis. It continues to buy regardless of circumstances, which is not the case for other segments in the luxury pyramid. And that's a very powerful thing to know, because as a marketer, what you're looking for is segments that are incredibly stable. That means they're not volatile, and that there's always consumption at that segment, right? So it means that when you create marketing tactics for them, and you create experiences, and you invest money or resources into that segment is not volatile. It's going to respond, and also it's increasing in size, right? So here you have an interesting another graph to show you how that segment performs comparison to, for example, aspirational segment, right? So people who spend a few thousand a year on luxury goods. This aspirational segment, very volatile, so it's affected by fluctuations in the market, inflation, interest rates, other economical, geopolitical trends. Beyond money segment is not affected by that, right? So it's very, very stable, right? And it's 5 times less volatile than that of the aspirational segment. Also, what is interesting is that for them, luxury is not an exceptional thing. It's an everyday thing, right? So they like the product, they like the quality, they don't care about price increases, they don't care about inflation. Whereas for the aspirational occasional buyer, for example, price increases are making them rethink their purchases. And they also prefer to spend a lot more experiences than on personal goods, because if they can choose where they want to put their money, they'd rather do it on experiences. So from a brand strategy perspective, you have to know these things so that you know what kind of brand strategies to create. Of course, being aware of consumer trends and understanding what are the next things for your brand to focus on are super important. And these are honestly the kind of topics we discuss all the time in the classroom. We discuss it led by professors like myself. We also have a lot of guest speakers that we bring to bring this from their brand perspective, to share what they are working on. But we also discuss it through consulting projects that we do that are related usually to the growth. How do you create growth in the market? How should you activate this product launch? How can you attract a new segment of consumers? How can you, for example, create opportunities to sell refillables and so on. So we really try to give you a very 360 approach to all things that are extremely relevant and can equip you with knowledge and skills so that you can hit the ground running when you are starting your first jobs or internships. Here's an example of top 10 trends the CEO should stay ahead of. Because we're talking about consumers, I will not go into the ones on the left, on the right, because those are more related to markets and new frontiers. But I will just speak about a few of these in the middle section, which are really talking about the shifting consumer preferences. We also focus a lot on digital, and this will be a digital marketing and omni-channel, and this will be something interesting for you. Luxury industry is still, like a lot of industries, is still reaching for that omni-channel optimization. And we find that, actually consumers are saying that they're not happy. They want they want better experiences. Half of them are saying it's not where it needs to be. So a lot of luxury brands are looking to hire people who are equipped, with strong digital tools and are equipped and knowledgeable on creating omni-channel environments, can handle, of course, digital marketing types of job scopes, or just generally being understanding and knowledgeable about where the market is going and what is the expectation from the consumer to really create that excellence in terms of the digital environments and omni-channel environments. In a luxury environment, you have two things that are basically missing still. First of all is that some of the brands are just not digitally native, so they need to bridge the gap with the kind of functional features and things like how well can you see the product, or the delivery speed, availability and delivery, and so on. At the same time, what luxury companies are extremely good at is creating those emotional differentiators where the stores and the storytelling and the retail environments, they do an incredible job on, but not necessarily in a digital space. So that's actually where also we see a lot of opportunities for the brands to improve. We also see some growth in these, what we call new ownership models. So of course, sustainability is a very important factor. A lot of consumers, especially younger consumers, Gen Z, millennials, Gen Alpha, really care about sustainability. It's a motivator for them to buy, or in some cases not to buy if it's lacking. And so those also something that's really embedded in, again, understanding and giving our participants, our students, a really good understanding on what this means and how to really stay very authentic to this trend, which is not a trend anymore. It's really something that has become a must in the new product creation and new branding. At the same time, we see things like secondary market exploding. For example, I did a big study on the watch industry that looks into the relationship between the primary and the secondary market. So we talk about that is that something brands should go into? Is secondary markets important for them to manage? And actually it is. In the luxury space, your performance of the secondary market actually affects your brand desirability in your primary market. So lots of interesting things to discuss about. And finally, clienteling, which is how do you serve your customer? How do you create environments where you are basically perfecting how your product is presenting, the stories you tell? How can you leverage AI tools, based tools, to make a change in this and make your customer journey more personalized? So these are some of the trends that I wanted to share with you. These are all extremely current right now, but they're also very much affecting what companies are doing and brands and luxury brands are doing day to day. What is interesting about the luxury industry, it is an extremely innovative industry with a lot of creativity and a lot of emotional connection that is made, that is much more powerful than any other industry, and there's a lot that you can learn. So even if you're not necessarily interested in the luxury industry, if you learn about it and learn how they do things, which is what we do really well at ESSEC, then you'll be just overall a much better marketer. So I hope I have been able to share a little bit about a small portion of the luxury industry with you, and I hope that I've been able to share a little bit about what you could expect to see in our MMD program, and I'm here to answer any questions. You can contact me directly or through our teams, and look forward to seeing you at ESSEC. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for that, Sonia. I hope that segment was useful for you in terms of giving you some insights on the sector. Yvonne and I are now around, along with a couple of our graduates, to answer any questions that you might have. We have a few questions, Yvonne, already on the screen. Could you maybe tell me if there are specific ones that you would like me to answer, or we can distribute them in any way you see fit?
Sure. We have one participant, Makala, who has been watching this program for a long time, and she seems to be very interested in Professor Sonia's classes. And she's asking, how do luxury brands keep their classic image while staying trendy with new digital tools? So I'll let Gautam answer this because he's the academic director.
Sure. All right, Makala, that's a great question. I think the trick to managing any brand is, and I'm going to say this in a little bit of an abstract way, but I'll explain what it means, is to try and stay relevant without changing. And that's really important for any brand to do, to recognize what does the brand fundamentally stand for, what are some of the historical elements in the brand's genesis, its history, its storytelling, its DNA that serve as cues, and how do those cues remain the same but evolve over time. So you'll see that come to life in products, you'll see that come to life in the communication, in store design, etc. And even in the digital space, you find that highlighting elements of brand stories and brand histories and their DNA is a constant part of their approach to market. So just because there is a new medium, like, for example, digital in the case that you mentioned, it does not, brands who are strong do not necessarily find the need to stay trendy. They find the need to stay relevant using the tools that they have at this point. And you'll see across digital platforms, successful brands have managed to do that to stay with the times without diluting their history. And I think a large part of that is what we kind of cover in the curriculum as well on campus, which is focus on the fundamentals and adapt to the environment and the tools available for the current time without losing the fundamentals. I hope that kind of helps.
Right. Moving from the topic itself into how the classroom learning is. So Apeksha would like to ask, can Professor Gautam give us an insight of how students learn? Is it by group projects or any other way? Would you mind sharing a few deeper topics in the class?
All right. So Apeksha, I'll give you hopefully a very decent sense that will help you answer that question. Number one, we treat classroom like a safe space preparation for work life. So we try and replicate work situations and work meetings in the class, which is, the way I like to put it is, the class is actually a meeting. It's not a one-way communication. So assume you're at a meeting at work and treat your class the way you would treat a meeting, which is you're in the meeting to contribute, you're in the meeting to develop a point of view, you're in the meeting to seek clarification, you're in the meeting to be remembered by other people after the meeting is over. So you'll find that our classrooms are very interactive, replicating at work meeting scenarios. Number two, you'll find that our classrooms place a high emphasis on participation and having a point of view. We also make sure that every lecture or session, as you may call it, is balanced in terms of there is a conceptual component and then there is an application component. And we kind of run the two side by side. So we kind of teach you how to do things, and then we ask you to do things right there based on what you just learned. So it's like combines a classroom plus tutorial plus real life situation. The style obviously changes by instructor, but the principle remains the same, which is get you as close to an industry setting as possible, get you out of your comfort zone, allow you to make mistakes, and make sure you develop a point of view, even if you did not know the topic before coming into the class. So I hope that gives you a sense for how we approach the class.
Right. One topic that pops up quite a lot is about internship. So someone, Vincent, I think it's Xiao Hong, is asking whether does ESSEC have an internship program specifically for students from Asia? Yes, definitely. So Prof, do you want to add on a bit about the internship stats, which is 100%, I know, in any the stories that you share?
Yeah, so I mean, you cannot graduate from the program without completing a 4 to 6 month internship. So it's a part of the program requirement. You cannot graduate without it, which means then we have support to help you find internships. We have a career fair on campus, especially for this program, where companies from luxury and marketing and everything else in between come onto campus and talk to students about opportunities. We, because we are industry connected, use our connections in industry to recommend students for specific internships. And I think it should give you some comfort that every year, every single student is placed into an internship, which is a part of the program. So yes, taken care of. I will just add one thing to it. Some students choose to do their internships in their home countries, which is also fine. Some students who get their job immediately after their classroom component is over also can treat the first few months in that permanent job to qualify as an internship. So we don't prevent students from getting a full-time job right after. We just make sure that they get that real experience immediately, and it could be full-time job or internship.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a dedicated career services team on site to do a lot of things for you. So there are career fairs, personal consultations, how to polish up your CV, how to do networking. We also bring the students to company visits. So it is really a very exciting period for students to be on campus. And what happens after you have graduated, don't worry, the career services team is also here to render support. So you will be very well supported throughout the entire program and after the program. Yeah, so JM Olio is asking whether the program also covers luxury business management or marketing with multi-dimensional offers like integrated property, such as hotels, casinos, golf, real estate, and retail. So businesses that are more experiential rather than having a physical product or brick and mortar. So far, it seems that they are more beneficial for product-centric business. Okay, Prof, over to you.
Got it. That's a great question, JM, and I'm going to try and answer that to the best I can. So I will say that the principles that you will gain from the program across the courses will help you address different kinds of businesses, any businesses that involve a consumer or marketing component, whether it's a high-end luxury business or a prestige business or even a basic consumer packaged goods business. In order to help you get those fundamentals, we structure the program along the fundamental core courses in term 1, and then in term 2, a deep dive into digital industry and the luxury sectors. We have chosen the luxury sectors that end up, like you rightly pointed out, being more physical goods, sometimes F&B experiences, but more physical goods, because that's where the industry demand seems to be highest for our graduates. That does not prevent us from taking on board feedback. Like what we do at the beginning of every cohort is we get specific, kind of needs and reactions and feedback from students saying, are there specific areas that you would like to cover out of personal interest? Is there a group of students that's interested in an area which might be affiliated to what we cover, but not exactly what we might cover based on the courses? And then we make sure you get some exposure to it with guest lectures. But the focus of our program is more, like you rightly pointed out, on the non-services luxury sectors.
Right. Does SNET give scholarships?
Yvonne, you can take that.
Yes, SNET does give scholarships, and the good news is you don't have to apply specifically for scholarships because everyone stands a chance, and the application is actually considered for all the scholarships available. We have 2 main scholarships, one which is ESSEC Excellence Scholarship, which really, as the name says, it depends on the merit of your application. And the other one is diversity, which also looks into the background, the nationality of where you're from. So we have these 2 main scholarships, but of course there are other sub-domains, which if you are interested to find out more, you can go onto our webpage to look for more information.
Great. Yvonne, I think so. Jian had a question which is unanswered. I think she had a comment about that. I'm just trying to, Jian Hamlin, what activities exist during the MSc for putting in practice what we learn, consultancy projects, cooperation, etc. So 2 kinds of activities. One is in-class. In-class business projects are typically live projects. So you will have group projects in courses which relate to live industry problems. The majority of courses in the program are co-created and taught by industry faculty with partnership with ESSEC permanent faculty. That's the way we've decided to structure the program so that everything is current and fresh. These industry faculty have full-time jobs outside, but teach as adjunct professors within ESSEC. And so the projects you get on those courses are very, very fresh and current. The second leg of putting in practice is through the Digital Marketing Challenge, which is again industry projects where industry teams come to campus, present to you their problems, then appoint a group of people within their team to work with you in finding out the solutions over the period of 6 weeks. And then while you make your solutions and recommendations, they come back at the end of 6 weeks, listen to you present on campus. They comment on your presentations, they give you feedback. And that's a very, very real workplace-like simulation for a project that's very, very live. Often digital marketing challenges lead to conversations around internships, and students get placed into companies that form part of the digital marketing challenge duration that runs over 6 weeks. Just for perspective, this cohort right now is going to be running approximately 18 different challenges in digital marketing, all of them live projects, all of them over a period of 6 weeks, all of them presented by the companies, worked along with the teams, and then companies come back and listen to the students' recommendations. Your next portion of your time to inclusive and sustainability programs, what opportunities are offered to continue their dedication during the MSc. So I can talk about the curriculum component. You'll find that every part of the curriculum includes the topic of sustainability within it. So we experimented with and then decided to do away with entire courses of multiple types and stripes that were called sustainability, this and that. And we said sustainability needs to be a part of everything we do and the way we think. And so sessions in every course cover sustainability for that course. So for example, innovations in luxury covers not only disruptive business models, but also then topics like, vegan leather, for example. So that's part of every course. Means offered by SEC to help the transition from academic study to the start of a professional career. I think Yvonne covered that in terms of the internship opportunities and the work placements. So I think that is covered.
Yeah, I can talk a bit about the campus culture if you want.
Please go ahead. Yeah, please.
And also share like one particular slide here, which gives like a snapshot of the activities that we have. Could you see that actually? Is that the slide? Yeah, okay. So we have a lot of activities available on campus, and they are all developed by our students. And the categories are all divided into 4 main types. There's sports, there's outdoors and wellness, interactions, competitions, community service, arts and culture. So if there's anything that you would like to bring on board to the campus after joining us, you're free to develop any kind of activities that you want. So we are very free and easy here, and that's why the vibrancy of the campus is always very prevalent here on the SI Asia Pacific campus. Okay. And we have got, a question on sustainable luxury branding. Prof, have you answered that?
Which one is that?
Apeksha. As the world is going towards sustainability.
Okay, so yeah, got it. So Apeksha, like I just said to the earlier question, there are elements of sustainability covered in every relevant topic. And so yes, sustainability in luxury is definitely a topic that's covered. Same way, sustainability from an entrepreneurship standpoint is covered as well in a separate course. So yes, you'll find a flavor of sustainability in many, many courses on campus. Okay. Should we start at the top? Maybe Yvonne. From Vivian, how many people in a class? So it depends. I would say at the maximum 50 in a class. And typically there are 2 sections in every cohort. But that's about the size of the cohort. One more question. Does the school have a deep collaboration with luxury companies, provide internship for students? I think we kind of answered this. The internship for students, we provide dedicated support within the career services team for this program, where we help you not only connect with companies, but also career fairs, and also prepare for the interviews and your resumes and all of that process. So there is a lot of active support. We have deep collaboration with luxury companies to the extent that they are deeply involved in teaching our program, in coming to talk to students, in providing opportunities to visit their offices, the study trip, etc. Okay. I wonder what differences do every round imply? I'm guessing that your question is to do with rounds of admission. And if it is so, I'll answer it in that context. Maybe Yvonne, you want to take the lead on that question? What are the differences between the rounds?
The differences between the rounds. Okay, there are no differences between the rounds apart from the dates. So we encourage you to apply early. Why? Because MMD is a very popular program. And as Prof. Gautam has already mentioned, we do actually look at a number of participants per year. So if you are really interested to join, I really encourage you to join as soon as possible. In fact, our round 1 admissions will be closing on the 25th of October. And we generally see that the ones who actually apply earlier actually have a very outstanding level of credentials. And we are very, very happy with the standard that we actually see amongst the participants and the applicants. So please do hurry, don't dawdle, and make use of every opportunity you can to speak to our student ambassadors if you are unsure what you can do to make your application stand out. We also have got a contact request available on the website itself for you to approach the program advisors that's overseeing your region, and you can have a very personalized consultation with them. So we have all the resources available to support you through your application. So and best of all, GMAT is optional. So all you need to do, focus on brushing out your resume, working on your application, and yeah, there you have it. You'll be able to nail it very quickly before the application rounds are over. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I'll just add to what Yvonne said, which is that we look at a round of applications. For example, round 1 comes in, look at all the applicants in that round, and we have our criteria on who are admissible in terms of who can we make an offer to. And we make those offers. We don't say, I'm going to make only so many in round 1, only so many in round 2, etc. And we have seen cases, to the point that Yvonne made, where somebody who might get rejected in round 1 might be better than somebody who is offered in round 3, and the other way around. So what we want to do is get as many people that come in early, so that we can make the offers, and then we know how many are remaining to make later.
Yeah, exactly. So one related question is whether scholarship is only offered for certain rounds of applications. So no, so scholarship is awarded on an equitable basis. So Prof reviews every application, and everyone stands equal chance. And the only winning factor is how outstanding your application is. So everyone is considered for all the scholarship opportunities available. Yeah.
Okay, what are typical career? Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. Yeah, typical career path.
Typical career paths. I think we kind of heard from our graduates about this. But typically, students will intern in either luxury companies or digital marketing roles at consumer companies. And then they'll go on to either secure full-time roles in these companies. Depending on which geography they come from, they might or might not get a full-time role, in country A versus country B. Singapore immigration decides a lot in terms of people and the kind of roles that get work visas, but internships are all covered under the program in Singapore. Typically, students might intern in a company in Singapore and then be sent back or offered a role in a different country for the same company. So all combinations are possible.
Right. Which country will the students go on for the next study trip, Prof? It's the most exciting.
So the students basically decide where they want to go. They vote, and there's a study trip committee, and they've decided to go to Hong Kong this year, or this cohort.
Okay.
They chose between Hong Kong and Bangkok, and they decided Hong Kong.
Yeah. Okay, and can students get involved in clubs and organizations, and what options are available? I've just shared a
Yeah.
screenshot for you just now. So don't worry about not, there's this fear of missing out, right? For most the students, like, okay, which club and organization should I join? Don't worry, the clubs and organizations are always here for you. So don't worry about not getting involved and things like that. In fact, I think you will have decision paralysis once you get onto campus, not the other way around. So it's more about what you want and aligning your interest with the activity that you want to do. Yeah. Prof, if you have a bit of a time for me, I can actually go through like the work opportunities that students can look forward
Please, yeah.
like
Sure.
visas and things like that, which I think it will be very, very helpful for them. So let me just share screen. Okay. So you can see my screen, yeah? Okay, so I think something that many of you are really interested to know is, okay, what are the job opportunities while I'm actually studying and what happens after that? So international students like yourselves always like to take on part-time job. We know because it helps out with the allowances and all that. And the good news is because ESSEC is an approved institute of higher learning, so our students are allowed to work for a maximum of 16 hours a week during school term and no limit during holidays, which is why the internships always happens during the holidays. And what happens after you have completed your studies here? Graduating students can apply for a long-term visit pass to stay in Singapore for 1 year to look for jobs. And once you have completed your studies and your student pass expires, you can consider any of these options depending on your nationality. So work holiday pass is very straightforward. So graduates who are aged up to 25 at the time of application can apply to work in Singapore for 6 months under the work holiday pass. And if you are a French or European citizen, not yet 29 years old, you can apply to this special VIE internship scheme, which is a French international voluntary internship program that allows you to do internships that last between 6 months to 2 years in a French company. And although I said it's voluntary, it's actually a paid job. So throughout your assignment, you receive a fixed monthly allowance, which is actually rather good at the end of the month, which is not taxed in France, even better. So you can see that for us at ESSEC, right, the students actually have a choice to stay in Singapore for about 1.5 years to 3.5 years after graduation. And that gives you a great opportunity to get valuable work experience in Singapore. So whether is it the long-term pass, the work holiday pass, or the VIE scheme, you have ample time to build your professional network through ESSEC, explore the career opportunities, and kickstart your career on an international level.
That's very helpful, Yvonne. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
All right. Do we have any more questions from all of you online? Okay, Sanika Gaikwad, ESSEC Business website shows that the admission intake is September 24. How should I proceed with my application? Okay, Yvonne, that's a you question.
Yeah. Okay. Sanika, thanks for pointing that out. We'll look into it. Please, in the meantime, email us at essecasia@essec.edu.sg. I'll put that email in the link. Please contact us and we will help you with that. So do not worry. I'm going to put that in the chat as well. Okay, Sanika, do get in touch with us, yeah? So we'll be able to help you with that. No worries.
All right, Sarah, I don't know what screen you were not able to see, but I hope you can see the screen now. Patricia Jade, do you have free courses certificates? No, we do not have free courses with certificates. We focus on classroom plus industry exposure in real kind of in-person scenarios in the context of on-campus physical presence for courses.
Right. So we're almost at the end of the session. Allow me to do a little commercial spiel. Our round one application will close on the 25th of October. So hurry up if you really, really want to get into the MMD program. If you've got any other queries that have not been addressed in this session, please reach out to us at sasasia@sac.edu. We are very, very prompt. So we usually get all the answers cleared in 2 working days minimum. So please reach out to us if you've got any questions. And if not, yeah, Prof, shall we call it a day?
Thank you.
Thank you so
Yvonne.
much.
Thank you.